Hi everyone, this is Literature Decoded, where we decode each and every concept that you might find difficult in your journey towards government job preparation. Whether you're preparing for D-SSSB, KVS, NVS, or any other state examination in which literature questions are asked, then I guarantee you this is the right place for you. Because here in this video, we will decode each and every minor work of Chaucer of the French phase. See, as we have already discussed in the past videos, Geoffrey Chaucer, who is also known as the father of English literature, lived around 1342 to 1400. That means he was living in the 14th century. This 14th century was influenced by a lot of factors. The very three important factors were, yes, you guessed it right, the very first was the Hundred Years' War, second was the bubonic plague, and the third was the Peasants' Revolt. Very good. Now, we will focus on how his works were divided into three different time periods. The very first is the French phase, then we have Italian, and then we have the more mature phase, which is known as the English phase. In this video, we will be only focusing on the works in the French phase. See, what were the characteristics of this phrase and what was the way in which Chaucer adopted the styles of the French? The very first was French language was known for its love for poetry, and that is what he adopted as well. The very first thing that he take was courtly love. Courtly love. The second was the dream visions. These are some of the characteristics which is reflected in his poetry. So we have courtly love, we have dream visions, and we have allegorical poems. So these poems are talking about chivalry. These poems are talking about romance. These poems are talking about love. These poems are also talking about the grief that is associated with the loss of a loved one. And that is what we have in his works also. So the first work that we need to do is Romance of the Rose. So, Romance of the Rose is the first work by Chaucer, but this is not his original work. So, this is a translated work. Translated work, and it was originally written in French, known as Roman de la Rue. Roman de la Rue, and this was written originally in French, and Chaucer translated a part of this work in his, and he wrote it as the way Romance of the Rose. This is also a dream vision. So you will see all of the characteristics which I am writing here are reflected in his poetry. It is a dream vision, and this is an allegorical poem, and he translated only a part of it, not the entire poem. That's it. You don't have to keep all the things in your mind. See, when we are doing Chaucer, whatever I'm writing here on the board and whatever I'm telling you, that is what you need to keep in mind from exams point of view. And when you sit down and when you do the previous year questions, you will see that the questions are coming from the video. Why? Because first we can't understand each and every poem in greater detail. We can't understand the stories. We can't keep in mind the characters, and these are not asked. So precisely we will be studying only what is asked from the point of view of the examiner, from the point of view of the exams. That is why only these three things are need to be keep in mind. First, it's a translated work, and it's a dream vision, and it is an allegorical poem. That's it. The second important work is his, I will write here so that we have more space. The second work that we have is the Book of the Duchess. This is important. The Book of the Duchess is important for many reasons. The first reason is that this is Chaucer's first original work. I will write all the points here on the board first and then we will discuss everything. So Chaucer's first original work or Chaucer's first original poem. Now, very frequently a question is asked, when was the Book of the Duchess written? It was written in 1368. You need to keep the date in your mind. Second, when was it written? Who is this Duchess? What is it about? So, Chaucer wrote this poem on the death of the Duchess of Lancaster, wife of John of Gaunt. This John of Gaunt was Chaucer's patron as well. So they used to fund their poetry. So John of Gaunt, this is also a very important question from exams point of view. Who was Chaucer's patron? It was John of Gaunt. So this Duchess was the wife of John of Gaunt, and because John of Gaunt was his patron, that is why Chaucer wrote this poem on the death of Duchess of Lancaster. This is clear. And her name, Duchess of Lancaster, her name was Blanche. So you can also see here, sometimes in your exam, it is also written like this, Duchess of Lancaster or the death of Blanche. Clear? So these are the two things which you need to keep in mind up until now about the Book of the Duchess. The Book of the Duchess was written in 1368 when the Duchess of Lancaster, who was the wife of John of Gaunt, died, and this poem is written as an elegy. Elegy is what? Elegy is a mourning poem. When someone dies and in their praise a poem is written, that is what is known as elegy. So the Book of the Duchess is an elegy. Clear? Second thing, this is what we're talking about, the more technical facts. This is what the background is, that this is his first original work. When was it written? 1368. Why did he write it? Because the patron of Chaucer, who was John of Gaunt, his wife died, who was the Duchess of Lancaster. That is why Chaucer wrote this as an elegy to commemorate her contribution. So as an elegy, he wrote this mourning poem, the Book of the Duchess. Second thing which we need to keep in mind, this is the first technical detail. Second, again, I told you, this is a dream vision. That is, the narrator, he dreams, he falls asleep and then he dreams, that he meets someone who is mourning. He meets a knight. That knight is usually a symbol of John of Gaunt, and he meets a knight, and that knight is sort of, he's mourning the loss of his particular loved one. Who is the loved one here? Duchess of Lancaster, who is the wife. Clear? So this is a dream vision, and again, it is an allegorical poem. Allegorical poem means, allegory is basically when there are certain symbols that stand for something else. Okay, so here the knight is not the knight, he's a symbol for John of Gaunt. Here Blanche is, you will see there, sometimes white is mentioned, so that white is the symbol of Blanche because it symbolizes purity. You need not go in greater details, but just keep in mind that this is an allegorical poem. So we have dream vision, we have allegorical poem, and we have very important thing, that the Book of the Duchess was written in octosyllabic couplets. What do we mean by octosyllabic couplets? Couplets means 2 lines, and octosyllabic means 8 syllables per line. Okay, if you have any confusion what an octosyllabic couplet is, what is the meter, what is what is iambic pentameter, what is iambic hexameter, or decasyllabic couplets, all of these things, if they confuse you, I have a video right here on this channel. You can click on the video and you will be directed to the explanation of this part, so you will not get confused here. Now again, we'll come to the very conclusion of his French work. See, French work is the first period in which he is writing. So that this is not his mature work. This is where he is experimenting. This is where he is learning. So the first period represents the very phase in which he has written only two. The very first is a translated work, which is Romance of the Rose, which was originally written in French under the name of Roman de la Rue. It is a dream vision and an allegorical poem. These two things are already there in this aspect also, that the Book of the Duchess is also a dream vision and an allegorical poem. But the Book of the Duchess is written in octosyllabic couplets, very, very important from exam point of view. What was the first original work by Chaucer? It was the Book of the Duchess. Who is the Duchess here? The Duchess is the Duchess of Lancaster, who is also known as Blanche. She was the wife of John of Gaunt. John of Gaunt was Chaucer's patron. These are the factual details which you need to keep in mind. Otherwise, apart from this, you need not keep in mind anything about Chaucer and his French works. This alone will give you a lot of information and a lot of clarity on how to attempt Chaucer's works. And what do we need to keep in mind? This is a dream vision, allegorical poem, and it is an elegy. Elegy means it's a mourning poem written on the death of someone. Okay, I know this is a very short video. Why? Because only we need to keep in mind these facts from our exam point of view. If you wish to learn more about Italian phase, we'll continue in the next video, and then we have a separate video coming up on Canterbury Tales, because there we need to focus our energy and our mind. This all we just need to keep in mind. What do we need to keep in mind? How do we need to keep in mind? Just think that whenever we talk about French phase, we have dream visions and we have allegorical poems. So this is a characteristic in both the poems. Second, what is the first work? It is very good, the Book of the Duchess. Duchess, the name itself says, so Duchess of Lancaster, and because it's a Duchess, so there must be a Duke also. So who is the Duke? It is John of Gaunt. And why is John of Gaunt important? Because he was Chaucer's patron. I hope all of this is clear. I'll get a side. You can take a quick screenshot, and if you have any doubts, you can put your comment in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel, and if you want to share it with your friends, you're free to do so. And if you again need any doubts, need any notes, then you can put your comments in the comment section below. Bye, take care, have a good day, study, and keep this in your saved files as well.